Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Effective Resume Thursdays. We're very glad you're with us today. It's May 27th, 2021. Please note this event will be recorded and is currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the CareerUSA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, and if you post a comment in the chat box or have your microphone or camera on, you give consent for your name, comment, and picture to appear. Well, we ask that you use the speaker view, which is what it looks like in the lower left-hand corner. And we ask that you're going to have your chat box open because we will be using the chat box extensively throughout this presentation. For those on Zoom, if you do have questions, please just put your question right in the chat box. Our speaker is monitoring that feed and I'm monitoring. We'll be sure to get those questions answered. And for those people on Facebook, please just put your comments into the comment field and we'll get those questions answered for you. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2008, I started a website called CareerDFW.org to help the unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, I started a second website, CareerUSA.org, to help people outside the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I've written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search that you may not know. It is available on Amazon. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. I'll tell you, the group's been around since the late 1990s, and I'll tell you about our upcoming programming this tomorrow at the end of this session. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team, and you'll hear more about that in just a couple of minutes. At the end of this session, we are going to be giving away a month of unlimited use of JobScan.co. JobScan.co is a great way to compare your resume to a job description. We'll pick two winners at the very end of this session, so please hang out to the very end so we can give that away. Well, our speaker today is Carol Brickell. She's a certified professional career coach. So Carol, thank you for being with us, and I'll let you take it away. Oh, let me make you a co-host.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I'm slipping up on making people co-hosts. There you go.
There we go. Okay, so I will share my screen, and welcome to everyone who's here today. And as Jeff mentioned, we've designed this to be fun and interactive. And so I do want everybody to open up their the participant box and especially the chat box as well. And I'm going to do the same thing and move it over to my second monitor over here. So if you see me looking over there, I'm just looking at my second monitor. And first of all, in chat, if this is your first time attending this Resume Thursday session, type something in chat like first time here or return visitor, because we design it for both ways, because we have some basic content we kind of review every time, but we take a different spin on it every time. And every week I always try to add new content. And this week I have a new recruiting friend colleague. I have lots of recruiter friends out there, and one from the Thomas Edwards group. And she gave me her top tips. So I'll be sharing those today. So good, we've got a few, couple of newcomers and a return visitor. So welcome to all. And it looks like we have several resumes, which is great. So I'm just gonna pause a quick moment to download the resumes, and we will show those at the end of the session. I certainly do appreciate you doing that. And that's everybody's favorite part of the session, to see a couple of resumes live in real time, and then you get some free coaching. So good, thank you. So we've got a couple of resumes, it looks like. And thank you. It looks like somebody sent me one in both a PDF version and a Word version. And I'll probably display the PDF version because the formatting will be protected. That's good. So to get us all warmed up in chat, and thank you, a few people have already typed in a few answers regarding whether they're the first time or return visitor. My question for today is, do you have a professionally named email account that you use on your resume? For example, most companies use your name, carol.brickell@ibm.com or something like that. So do you have a professional looking email address? I see a lot of funny ones like ilikekittycats.com or something, and you want to use a professional looking email address. Okay. so if everybody could go into chat and type in their answer to that question. I believe so, somebody says. And if it looks like a name, like first name dot last name or last name dot first name, sometimes you have to add a couple of numbers to make it unique. That's the best practice. And Gmail accounts look more up to date than AOL. And even my Yahoo account is a little out of date, but I'm not actively looking for a job. I'm enjoying my career as a career coach, so good. All right, so today I'm going to be sharing some tips and tricks that I've gathered through the years regarding resumes. And your job is just to listen to all the ideas and apply what makes most sense to you. And you'll hear different ideas from different people that you talk to about your resume. And that's good. I mean, we just share ideas based on our experiences. So my experience is based on working as a hiring manager in an IT firm. I worked at EDS that was acquired by Hewlett Packard. And I worked there for many years. And then I took early retirement so I could get a job as a recruiter, because back in 2012, I felt a real calling to get out in the world and help all the people I knew that had been laid off. I wanted to help people get jobs. And so I wanted to really learn about the recruiting industry. So I gained some valuable time working in a couple of staffing agencies and also corporate recruiting. And I placed people in a whole bunch of different types of roles: accounting, finance, sales, HR, lots of different roles. And then like Jeff, I volunteer each week for the Dallas Pit Crew. That's practice interview team. And if you haven't practiced your interview skills, we highly recommend that. Good, and we've posted the Pit Crew information in the chat box. And then also I've been certified by the Professional Association of Resume Writers and Career Coaches, and I keep up with that organization. And I just went to their latest conference last month to keep up to date on the latest and greatest opinions and ideas and tips regarding resumes. And also I keep very close in touch with my recruiting friends, especially Next Step Recruiting, where I retired from in 2019. And this week, this is a sampling of some of their hot jobs. And so if you're in accounting or HR or finance types of roles, and you're looking for a position in the DFW area, and some of their clients will allow virtual workers as well, let me know and I can get you connected with a great recruiter. So they're looking for, there's some leadership positions open this week, some accounting supervisor, accounts payable manager, staff accountant. They always have several staff accountant positions open, and a billing supervisor. And they're usually looking for HR people as well. So if you want to be connected with a great recruiter, let me know. And I do highly recommend that as part of your job search strategy. It's good for you to network in and apply for jobs, and also have one or two really good recruiters working for you and presenting you to hiring managers. And this is our agenda today, two-part agenda. We'll review some information regarding applicant tracking systems. And I'll share this recent advice I've gotten from a new recruiting friend of mine from the Thomas Edwards group. So I'll share some new advice. And then we'll talk about the concept of a one-page bio and how that's different than a resume. And then we'll talk about the concept of a master resume, review some key components of a resume, and then we'll look at those sample resumes that we've already received. And thank you to those who have shared your resume with us. So how many people have ever applied for a job online and had to go through an applicant tracking system? Type yes into chat if you've ever applied for a job online and your resume got read by an applicant tracking system. Oh yes, some people are saying, yes, these are the systems that take your resume and they read the data, they parse the data and put different components into their database, your name, your phone number, your job titles, your degrees and that type of thing. So yeah, these are the systems like Taleo or Workday has an applicant tracking component. iCIMS is another very common one. And with these applicant tracking systems, you'll hear a lot of conflicting ideas about them because they're all built differently and each company installs them differently. But basically some of the big rules to keep in mind are not to use any special characters in the version that you're uploading into the applicant tracking system. Things like boxes, tables, even underlines can can interfere with some of the text and special bullet points. And then don't use your header and footer section. It won't read that data. But you do want to ensure that your keywords, the language in your resume aligns to the language in the job description, the same skills and keywords. And this tool, jobscan.co, is a great tool to compare your resume to a job description. And we'll be giving out a couple of licenses at the end of this session today. And many of the applicant tracking systems allow you to upload your resume as an attachment. And that's the version that the recruiters will be clicking on. As a recruiter, when we'd post a job, especially when I did corporate recruiting, we typically get 200 to 300 people applying. And I'd look at the top 20 or 30 that have the best match and just click on those resumes. And I often didn't have time to look at the cover letters, but if it does ask you for a cover letter, it's a good idea to go ahead and fill it out just so it looks complete. And I've seen a recent study that says 60% of hiring managers do look at the cover letters. Sometimes they like to see your writing style. I'll tell you, most of my recruiting buddies and we never had time to look at them, but it's a good idea to do that. And we have a simple template that we'll share in chat that you can download for a cover letter. And the most important thing in the cover letter is to say why you're interested in that company and that job, to show your interest in the company. That's something unique you can put in your cover letter that wouldn't be covered in your resume. You should align your resume to the job. And then more advice regarding applicant tracking systems. Since they all work differently, just keep the big picture in mind to upload a resume that has no special formatting. So the version you upload should be in native MS Word version with no special formatting. Now your attachment that you upload, you may want to put that in a PDF so it protects the formatting so that the recruiter sees it the way you intend it to be seen. And if you have the chance, some systems will let you see the data that's been uploaded to make sure it got uploaded cleanly. Workday lets you do that. So if you have the opportunity, you should look at that. And then the most important thing is to contact a person. And those of you who've heard me speak before, you may know the answer to this question. But when you apply for a job online, what percentage chance do you have of being called for an interview? Go ahead and type a number in the chat. Yes, thank you. So the question is, when you apply for a job online, what percentage chance do you have of getting called for an interview? And somebody typed in 1. Yeah, and I encourage everybody to type in answers to this. And if you're looking at your phones, I encourage you also to set your phones aside and put your focus on the content. We're going to buzz through some things really quickly here. Now, if you get a call from a recruiter, that's fine, but go ahead and put your phones aside, and because we're going to buzz through some interesting information. Yes, all of you are right on target that are answering this question. When you just apply online and sit back and wait, your chances statistically of getting called are only 2%. So you really have to do something. You have to take an extra step to increase your chances of getting called for an interview. And if you reach out to a person, that can increase your chance dramatically. And when I say reach out to a person, what I recommend is reaching out to somebody you know at that company and have them forward over your resume to the recruiter and let them know that you meet the requirements, just to kind of reinforce that. And then they may get a referral bonus. Or if you don't know anybody at the company, reach out to the recruiter who posted the job if you can see their name. Sometimes on LinkedIn, you can see the name of the recruiter that posted the job. Most of the time you can't see the name of the recruiter. And then what I recommend is to go a level up. Don't call just any recruiter because they're probably underwater, busy working on 20 different job openings. And so you want to go a level up to a recruiting manager. Reach out to them, let them know that you meet the requirements. That's kind of like the secret password. If you let them know that you meet the job requirements, that will get their attention. And you can do this either, I used to love it when candidates would call me and leave a quick voice message and say, hi, I'm Carol Brickell. I just applied for your corporate recruiting position. I have 5 years of experience and I've placed accountants and finance people, if that's what they're looking for in the job description. Be happy to have a conversation. As a recruiting manager, whenever I got a call like that, I would always call that person back. And those tended to be the people I hired because those are people that are getting the job done. Okay, let's see, still confused. If I get a lead from one LinkedIn connection, what percentage is that? If you reach out to a person on LinkedIn and they refer you to the recruiting organization, that increases your chance to 50%. So I've read that statistic. So hopefully that answers your question. If not, let me know. Thank you for the follow-up question there. I don't know how to get rid of that thing. I'm going to try to see if I can clear my drawings. Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't even know if you could hear me. I have a recruiter, but I can't get in touch with her. Like, I know her name. I'm not connected with her on LinkedIn, and I've looked her, try to find an email. How do I go about doing that? I actually have a video interview later with a different company, but like, there's one job that I really, really like. How do I go about doing that?
Okay. That might require a specific conversation so we can dig around a little bit, but so this is a recruiter at a company where you've applied?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know if that is the right recruiter for that particular job?
I don't know. I know that she's the recruiter for that area.
Yeah, I would go a level up then.
Okay.
If you're not certain that they're working on that job, they probably would never call you because they're busy working on 20 other job openings. So I would go a level up and go on LinkedIn and search for a recruiting leader or talent.
Okay, I did that yesterday. Perfect. But I didn't know if I was overstepping. Okay.
No, doesn't hurt to call and let them know you meet the requirements and highlight a couple specific things that you meet the requirements.
Yeah, I know somebody who went and they found 3 different names on LinkedIn. They emailed all 3 of them. Well, none of them responded, but then all of a sudden a 4th person, I guess one of the 3 forwarded it on to the 4th person, and the 4th person actually reached back out. So just anybody you can find in HR, send it to them, let them know you're qualified, because you know, somebody will get back in touch with you, or they'll turn the other person in.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's why I recommend a leader, because they can look down and they know who is working on which jobs. And so it was probably the more senior person referred that person to the right recruiter. So that's why I recommend reaching out to the leader, because they're more the traffic cops. The recruiters are underwater.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Many recruiters are, I mean, they have to meet certain targets, and if they're behind, they're worried about getting fired. And anyway, so it's a rough world out there in the world of recruiting. So, okay. And speaking of recruiters, I met Sarah Jacob this past few weeks. Her name, she's a manager of business development at the Thomas Edwards Group. And she does a lot of outreach and attends a lot of these types of webinars and such. So I really enjoyed getting to know her. And I asked her if she'd be willing to share her top resume tips with me. And so she did graciously. And then she said I could also share her contact information. So you're welcome to make a note of that and reach out to her on LinkedIn as well, if you wish. She seems, even though she's a manager there, she can get you in touch with the right recruiters. Okay, got a question. Still confused. If I get a lead from one LinkedIn connection,
I think you answered that already. He's just doing some math underneath. So.
Okay. I'm not sure what you mean by a lead from one LinkedIn connection. I mean, if they send you a lead, I'm not even sure about that. So if you want to go off mute, you can, to make sure we get to the answer to your question. Okay, so I'll run through this advice, and then Scott, if you want to go off mute, you're welcome to. So this advice from Sarah: never include your home address. You don't need to do that, and no pictures. And we've talked about that in other sessions. And be sure to have a professionally named Gmail account as preferred for your email account on your resume. And be sure your voicemail box on your voice phone number has a professional message and is cleaned out often, because if a recruiter tries to call you and your mailbox is full, they'll move on to the next person. And another point about that, if as a recruiter, as I was going through LinkedIn, if I did a search on LinkedIn for people and I found a great candidate, but I couldn't find their phone number in their contacts or their about section, I'd move on to the next person. So you want to make it easy for recruiters to get in touch with you. And then we'll show an example of this when we show an actual resume example, but she says to include the entire tenure at one company on the same line as the name of the company. And then if you've had multiple jobs within that company, show those dates next to those titles. We'll show you visually how to do that. But she's echoing exactly what we've been teaching in this session with our sample resume. And then she recommends using a chronological resume versus functional because hiring managers typically want to see your accomplishments under each position. And that echoes what I've observed too when I've worked with hiring managers. And, focus on your hard skills, industry expertise, and soft skills, especially that align to requirements in the job description. You do want to avoid overused terms like team player or detail oriented unless it's some skill that's really required for the job. Okay. And then, list all the software skills on your resume. And if you have beyond basic Excel skills, let them know. Sometimes I see people say Microsoft Excel, including pivot tables and VLOOKUPs, especially for jobs that require that a lot. And include a brief summary at the beginning of your resume. And we'll show you an example of that. Not an objective, not I'm seeking a job where I can grow my skills. It's a summary about who you are as a professional. And don't use I, me, my, don't talk in the first person, make it third person. And we'll show you an example of how to do that. Now on LinkedIn, it's different. That's a kind of a social networking platform. And it's okay in the about section to say, like mine starts off with my mission as a career coach is to help others. It's okay on LinkedIn, but in a resume, you want to go with third party or with third person. And a question, I get too spammed on LinkedIn. I had to hide my profile. Wow. Oh, okay. That's too bad.
You're missing out on good job opportunities because most jobs, LinkedIn, if you're a professional, LinkedIn is the place to be.
Yes, and recruiters often look at the resume and then they quickly look you up on LinkedIn to get more feedback about you, look at your recommendations, skills, see where you've been endorsed. So I agree with Jeff, you're missing out. So I don't know if there's a way to avoid, maybe adopt the rule that I think both Jeff and I have adopted. Don't accept a connection with anybody you don't know or that doesn't write a personal message, because a lot of those people are marketing people trying to increase their networks. So only accept people that you want to connect with, and maybe go through your list of connections on LinkedIn. So and get rid of the ones that are people you don't know. Some kind of spam filters on LinkedIn. If anybody has any tips about that, let me know.
Yeah, there are no spam filters on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I've just stopped accepting requests from people that I don't know or obviously look like they're marketing something. Okay. All right. So who has a one-page bio? Type yes into chat if you have a one-page bio, which is different than a resume. And if you have one, tell us how you've used it. Looks like somebody does have one. Yeah, a resume really signals that you're looking for a job. And when you're applying for a job, you want to provide a chronological resume. But a bio is a softer document and it can be used in a lot of situations. And so if you're reaching out to somebody, maybe you have a target company and you get a referral to talk to somebody there to learn more about the company. If you send them a resume, they may not respond to you because they think, uh-oh, you're looking for a job and I can't help you. I don't have any job openings. But if you just reach out to them and say, I'm just seeking your advice about my career. You were highly recommended to me. Do you have 15 minutes of time? They're probably open to talking to you. And you could say, here's my bio so you can see a little information about me. So bios can be used in a lot of different situations. They're more of a multi-purpose tool. And we're sharing an example in the chat box. You're welcome to download this. I had looked for samples and I'm still kind of looking for good samples. And I had a client that had this format and he got good feedback about it. So I asked him if I could leverage his format. And it's just Microsoft Word. And is the bio the one-page marketing plan? Nope, it's not really a marketing plan. It's more of a summary about who you are as a professional.
I think some people use the term marketing plan, one-page marketing plan, sort of the same as a bio. I think there's a crossover between the two.
Okay. To me, when I think of a plan, it's like a plan of actions of things I'm going to do. Yeah, like my target companies and who I'm going to contact and what I'm going to do this week. So, and somebody's not seeing documents in the chat box.
I'll put an email address up at the very end that if you can't download any of these documents, you can send me an email and I will forward the documents on to you.
Okay, great. Thank you. And this particular format is Microsoft Word, so it's real easy to manipulate. And yeah, my client said I could use it, so I just plugged in my picture. And since this is used more for social networking, it's okay to have your picture. Do not include a picture on a job application resume document. And this is where you can highlight your key skills or areas of expertise that align to the types of jobs you're looking for. You can put in a very short paragraph with background about who you are as a professional. Again, leveraging skills and keywords that are used in the job descriptions that you're finding. And then you can list your professional biography, the company names and dates. And let's see, you want to line up the others with your experience. Yeah, I kind of justified that. If you think I should do it the other way around, let me know about lining that up. Yeah. So yeah, it could go either way. And then education. Let's see. Yeah, somebody just made a comment about that doesn't line up. So tried to justify it. So education. You can put your education, certification, contact information, and then here's where you can document your achievements and successes. And if you have quantifiable results, this is where you want to highlight those and just the headlines, a sentence or two about those. Good. So you're welcome to leverage that. And Jeff, if you have a moment and to share with us your thoughts about a master resume, that would be great.
Yeah. Thank you, Carol. Yeah, master resume. I think it's a real important function or an important document to have, because once you put together a master resume, you don't have to think about what you've done. So a master resume is everything you've done since high school. If it was, any professional experience that you have, and you put down all the details, manager names, addresses, put down 8 or 10 or 15 bullet points, whatever, any results that you've got all throughout there. And then once you do that, when you see a job description, you take that master resume and you eliminate everything that they don't ask for in the job description, because a recruiter, like Carol says, doesn't have a lot of time and they're looking for an exact match. So I'm sure everybody here has done a lot of really great things, but you can tell those stories when you're in the interview. But during, you want to get that phone call. And to get that phone call, you've got to make your resume match the job description. So if they don't ask for it, don't tell them about the other things.
Right. And just yesterday, I was coaching somebody who's making a career transition from education to corporate training. And I was helping her create kind of her master resume with everything. But she's going to kind of pick and choose certain things to highlight for specific jobs that she's going after. So, yeah. And yes, and thanks to those that acknowledged my cat made an appearance when Jeff was talking. It's like my cats know when I'm not on or speaking, and they jump in and then they go aside when I start speaking again. That's funny. Anyway, so now we will review quickly some characteristics of good resumes, and then we'll get to those sample resumes that a couple people have shared. So characteristics of good resumes. You want to make it easy for the ATS systems and those busy recruiters to see within a few seconds, yes, that's the kind of person I'm looking for. Put what you are at the top of the page, your areas of expertise, make it very easy to see your software skills and your degree. because they're only going to spend a few seconds. You want the formatting to be clean, lots of white space, and easy to read. Overall length, type in the number of pages in your resume. Go into chat. How long is your resume? Not the master resume, which could be 5, 10 pages, but regular resume. Most people say 2 pages. 1 page is appropriate if you're right out of college or maybe just had one job. If you have more than one job, people kind of expect to see a 2-page resume for professionals. If somebody's told you to cram it onto 1 page, I would not worry about that. It's okay to have a couple of pages. Good. Yeah, 2 pages is kind of the sweet spot. There are some positions or highly technical positions, government, where it can be longer, and that's fine. And if it goes on to 3 pages and it's hard to get down to 2, I think that's fine. You might want to have a professional look at it real quickly, a recruiter or a career coach, somebody you trust, and see if it's worth trying to get it onto 2 pages. If not, don't worry about it. Now, number of years, I like to ask this question as well. And I think we have a polling question. And for those on Facebook Live, you can type in A, B, or C in comments. So I'm curious, how many years of experience do you show on your resume? A, do you show all of your experience? B, just the most recent 10 to 15 years? Or C, do you show the most recent 10 to 15 years plus a section that says prior relevant experience, where you can list just the company names and the job titles, and you don't have to put the dates if you don't wish. So good. Yeah, a couple of B's and C's. Yeah. And so I'll tell you my perspective. Now, I did option A. This is really funny. When I was looking for a job at the age of 59 and a half, I was almost 60. And I went with option A because the people I was networking with knew I'd been at EDS forever. And so I just showed my whole experience out there, and I got the job. It worked for me. But I don't know that I would always recommend that. And when I was a recruiter, and even just a couple of days ago, I was doing a mock interview with somebody, and they only had one job on their resume, and it said artistic director or something. It was a very senior job. And in the mock interview, I asked him, "Is that the only job you've ever had?" He goes, "No, I was told to take off all the other ones." And then during the rest of his interview, he kept referring to those other companies, and it was just really confusing. So that can cause confusion if you only show your most recent 10 years and then chop it off. It looks like you're hiding something. And so I found when I was presenting resumes to hiring managers, and when I was a hiring manager, I like to see option C, where there's maybe more details about the most recent experience, but it also shows prior experience and roles to show kind of all those career building blocks that you've had, and it shows kind of a glimpse of the full picture. So, so thank you. And it looks like a majority of people are doing option C. So that's changed over time. Good, good. So we'll quickly walk through key components of a resume. And somebody said that shows their age. Actually, it doesn't. If you just show 10 to 15 years and then prior relevant experience and list, and it doesn't have to be every company you worked for prior to that. It could be just a couple companies and a couple of job titles. You don't have to put your dates on the resume for the initial screening. Now, when you fill out the job application, you may have to show some of the actual dates. And on LinkedIn, if you choose to go that far back in your history, you may have to show the dates as well. But on your resume, at first glance, it really doesn't. And I would say, don't be afraid of age discrimination. I looked for a job at the age of 54 and 59 and a half. I was nearly 60. I went into those interviews like, they'd be lucky to have me because I'm a fun person to work with. I'm good at what I do, and I have lots of great experience, and I can get it done quick. So just own it, own your experience, and think in your head that, wow, they'd be lucky to have me, you know, and I'm going to stick around longer than those millennials that are applying for a job. So anyway, that's my thought about age discrimination. If anybody else has other thoughts about it, it's a pretty serious topic, but those are actually my thoughts about it. And let's see. So we'll talk through these components of a resume. You need to have a good, clean heading, name, contact information, good professional looking email, and your LinkedIn address. And you want to modify your LinkedIn URL so it takes off all those extra numbers off the end. You can go to your LinkedIn profile and click on edit URL to modify it if you need to do that, to make it nice and clean. And no physical street address is needed on your resume. And then the top of your resume, summary profile. I've heard some people say you could skip having this opening sentence or two. However, when I see a resume like that and it doesn't have an opening sentence, to me, it looks like something's missing. And it looks like it just jumps into these bullet points, like there's something missing. I like to see an opening sentence that just describes who you are as a person. And you don't want it to be too long because a recruiter won't read much. They may only read the first line. And so you basically, when you're applying for a job, get an idea of what's the heart of that job. What are they really looking for? And in this case, if they're looking for a business analyst that has documented business requirements and has worked directly, with customers, say that in the very first sentence, what they're looking for. And then if they're looking for various areas of expertise, list those as well. Good. Got a comment here? Include relevant job experience, banking experience. Okay. Sorry, the one comment was too long for me to read. Okay. I'll get back to that if we have a chance. I've been a millennial. Panels at large companies, they say they can't wait for baby boomers and Gen Xers to retire so they can do things their way. Oh no. Wow. Many in New York were replaced by millennials with little or no experience. Yeah, that's sad to see that. And so what I learned, looking for a job in my upper 50s, approaching 60, is to look more towards companies that value experience. Look on LinkedIn and you see people with gray hair, in the pictures, look for the companies that value experience. There are some companies that tend to want to just hire the younger folks. So yeah, so you have to kind of find a culture that's open to that experience or get referred by maybe one of your leaders. Yeah. Okay. And then also at the top of your resume, an optional section is key accomplishments. I see this especially for sales or business development types of jobs where you want to show a track record of achieving accomplishments. And then your professional experience section, this is where you want the formatting to be really clean. It's in reverse chronological order. You want to make sure your verbs are parallel. For example, your past jobs, all of the verbs at the beginning of your bullet points should end in ed and not be a mixture of ing, present tense. Make sure they're all parallel. And then include a one-line description of the company, especially the industry. We've heard from various recruiters, they like to see that. And then limit the number of bullets per job because a recruiter is not going to read 10 or 15 bullets. They might read 5 or 6 or 7. Okay. And then you want to focus on results in these bullet points. And one way to get to the result is read your bullet point and ask the question, so what? And if there's an answer to that question, that means you haven't gotten to the result. Like one of my clients said he automated the conversion of data. I went, well, so what? Well, based on that, he reduced the data migration time. So then he rewrote that bullet to focus on the result more than just the task that he did. You have to make a notation in your resume if the company's out of business. Not really. A lot of companies are out of business. You don't need to make any notations. Less is more on a resume. Just put the company name, the dates you worked there. And then here is what Sarah was talking about regarding multiple roles at one company. You want to show the full duration of the time at that company. And let's see, I'm going to hide names of annotators. Okay, there we go. And somehow I got in annotation mode myself. And so you want to show the full time you're at the company, and then for the different jobs that you had, if you had multiple jobs within that company, put those dates next to those job titles. You don't want those right justified because when you do that, it looks like you're a job hopper. So you want to do it in this format. Okay. And somebody's asking more about the key accomplishments section. And this is specifically if you're applying for sales or business development jobs where they want somebody who has a track record of achieving sales targets, or if you've been in a recruiting job and you've achieved your targets 5 years in a row. If you're showing a kind of a summary of your accomplishments, maybe over several jobs, this is when you'd want to have a key accomplishment section.
And these are the same bullet points that you would have down underneath the job specifically, but you want to bring it up high so that in a sales or business development that you're showing 3 or 4 things that make them want to read more about your resume.
Yes, and the second bullet might span a couple different jobs because they're saying that they achieved or exceeded their targets between 2013 and 2018. So that could be multiple jobs. So they're summarizing it above. So hopefully that answers your question there. Thank you for that question. Okay. And then you want to be sure to include your education and software skills. And if you don't have a degree.
Can you go back 1 second?
Sure. Go ahead, state your question.
No, you went back and went right there, yeah. Thank you. I just wanted a screenshot, thank you.
Okay, great. And we're also loading in chat a sample resume that has this format as well. But thank you for taking the screenshot. Good. Okay. And then this is very important. Every time you apply for a job, take just a few minutes and study the job description. And that's what we're showing on the left here on this particular screen. So either print it off and highlight the keywords and skills, or look at it online and really look at what they're looking for. And look at the bottom of the job description where they say, here are the requirements or qualifications, or here's what you bring to the job. And in this case, this is for a business analyst, and they're looking for people with Agile and Scrum. So you want to be sure to list that if you've got that background. And if you've got software that they're looking for, be sure to list those in your software section. And then up at the top of the resume, when they're talking about more the essence of the job, they're looking for somebody who's innovative and can document business requirements. Be sure to use that language in describing who you are in the job. And then look at the other roles and responsibilities of the job and show that you've got those areas of expertise, like documenting process flows. So I highly recommend doing this. It takes just a few minutes to do it. And sometimes when you study a job description, you might decide, oh, they're really looking for a data analyst. They're not looking for me. And so you might put that aside, and that'll save you time and allow you to focus on the jobs where you do meet the requirements. And in today's competitive environment, you want to apply for jobs where you meet a majority of the requirements, unless you're being networked in, or maybe a former leader is hiring you and giving you a chance to maybe transition to something new. So, but if you're applying for a job competitively, you need to show that you meet most of the job requirements. Okay, so now at this time, what I'm going to do is share a couple of the resumes that we have. And this one, somebody gave it to me in a PDF format, which is very nice thing to do. I'm going to do a new share. Hopefully you can see it okay. And what I'm going to do is scroll down the resume. And now that we've been kind of talking about formatting, if you have any ideas of things you like about the resume format, go ahead and type those in chat. And if you see things that you think would be enhancements, feel free to type those in chat as well. So I'll scroll down this resume. It has a summary section at the beginning with the actual title at the top, which is a good best practice. If you're a learning and development specialist and you're applying for a job and the title is learning and development specialist, use that title. Now, if they happen to say training specialist, you might want to change it to training specialist. Yeah, so training development manager. Okay, good. So you have some bullet points, some areas of expertise, and a company name and dates. Company name, dates. Company C, good. Training specialist. Southwest Park. National training. Senior training. So those look like titles. Okay. For that one job, that same job. Okay, good. I like the way you did the dates. I was just looking at that real quick. Good, good. Education. I used to hire L&D people. Man, I would hire you. That's good stuff. You've got articulate, yeah. Camtasia, that's good stuff there.
We'll go back to her first job. I just want to show, I think it's a good point to show out to people. So here she was a sort of an independent consultant. What she did was she listed the different companies that she's worked for. So if you've gotten a lot, so if you have a number of short-term gigs, 3 months, 5 months, 6-month gigs, you can lump it all together like this, consultant and training. And it's a great way to show, show what you've done.
Yes, yes. And I've seen, I'm glad you pointed that out, Jeff, because I had a client who was doing a whole bunch of contract jobs and nobody was calling her. But when she structured her resume like this, and for these 3 years, she was doing a lot of contract assignments and said, worked for a variety of companies, including or contract assignments, and then just listed the outcomes, she just started getting more calls. Okay. The only thing I would say, let's see about this top part. Let's see. Develops, delivers, manages effective learning solutions and improve. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of a neat way of having an opening statement. That's different.
Especially if that comes right off the job description.
Yeah, yeah. And especially, a lot of companies are looking for improving employee performance and business results. Yeah, that's actually a good kind of little elevator speech thing. As a recruiter, I probably wouldn't even read these sentences. So I don't know about these. These don't grab my attention. Highly collaborative designer that excels at enables employees, manages complex.
Well, it makes me want to ask, so what?
Yeah.
Just give me some results, right? If you give me 3 results, that'd be one thing.
Yes. Achieved. Did this. Because past success is an indicator of future. Yeah, that might be why. Okay. And then these are usually the key skills I'm looking for when I'm hiring learning and development people. So good job there on those. So I think that's good. And the dates were good. Let's see. Okay. I don't see any other comments on this one. So good job with that. Good job. Okay. So now I'm going to stop this share. And then I think I have a moment to bring up the other jobs, other resume. So I'll bring it up. And I think I have to click on new share. Okay. You probably can't see it yet, correct?
Yeah, we can see it.
Oh, you can. Okay.
Well, we could.
Yeah, I clicked on that editing thing, and that just freaks out Zoom. Okay, can you see it now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So I'll scroll down this resume. See if anybody has any comments. Have a summary section. Experience, okay, education. So it looks like it's just kind of one page. All right.
I would spread that header information out so it's the same margins that you're using down below. So move around
Yes.
Georgia and the phone number, same,
Right.
Because that way it'll pull that and undo the LinkedIn thing, so it's not a hot link.
Right. Yeah, Workday, I hear from when I talk to people that work at Workday that hot links, like an email address and LinkedIn can throw off reading your resume. And then also I'd recommend that you go to your LinkedIn profile and on the upper right part of the screen, click on edit URL and you can take off all those extra numbers. and make it a smaller LinkedIn. And you just, on your resume, you can just type in text, again, not a hot link, just www.linkedin, blah, 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 / and whatever your modified URL is. And then when you apply for jobs, you'd want to pick one job title. So if you're applying for a hospitality manager position, put hospitality manager if you've done that before. If you're applying for an executive recruiter position, put executive recruiter if you've done that before. So you pick one of those. And then your career summary, and then you don't need the word career summary, just put who you are, and you can delete career summary. And then I would make this opening just 3 lines, no more than 3 lines, focusing on that particular job you're applying to.
And, you know, if you're applying for something in hospitality, nobody cares about your senior equity trader position. You know,
Right.
just talk about what it is you're applying for. If you're applying for a Wall Street trader, then you'd want to put that on there, but you're not going to talk about hospitality, restaurant stuff, because you're going to talk about that when you're in an interview and you want to
Right.
get them to call you up. So what are you putting out there as bait to get them to call you?
Yes. And yeah, I see hospitality, but I don't see anything on your job that backs that up. I don't think. I don't see any hospitality jobs. So you want to be sure in your summary, your title, that your professional experience backs up what you're saying or provides evidence that you have that. And I'd recommend that you make your resume go on to maybe a second page. And one way you can do that is under your career summary, add areas of expertise and list, you know, about 9 of the key skills required for the jobs that you're applying for. And then also professional experience, I would make that a heading, kind of like career summary. I'd make that bold and centered and larger text. Like,
And, you know, and you worked in one place from 1993 to, or go down to 2018. You only had one job title? I mean, really? You want to show
Yeah.
a line of progression that you moved up the chain from here's my first title and these dates and my next title. Show progression because, you know, you were a manager, director the entire time. That's possible, but
it looks like he may have started off as an energy sector trader and then moved into managing director. And that would show great progression to show these 2 job titles separately and then put your accomplishments under each title. Yes. And this section here, I don't know if I can highlight this. Yes. I don't know that a recruiter would read all of that. It's kind of a couple of paragraphs or something. So I would, if there's some accomplishments in there, I'd make those bullet points. Okay. So this looks like a description of the company. So I'm not quite sure if that's a description of the company or your job title.
yeah, that first line is a description and then the rest after the gray should become bullet points.
Yeah, those should become bullet points. Yes. And then you have education, professional development, and organizations. Usually education is kind of separate. Maybe education. And I don't
Those
know.
are all licenses for trading that you have
Yes.
to have.
So it might be good to list the proper name of that type of license, trading licenses or something. Yes.
But once again, it would be not important if you're trying to stay in hospitality. You're trying to,
Yeah,
you know,
that's right. That's
people aren't
right.
going to care
Yes.
about that. That's why you have a master resume and you cut it down to only tell them what they want to know.
Right. And it says organizations, but I just see one listed there. So, and that was a while ago. So I'm not sure if that's would be listed there. So, and if you're applying for hospitality positions or seeking that, you'd want to maybe say prior relevant experience and list that hospitality experience. And executive recruited candidates. Okay. There we go. Okay. So hopefully that gives you some good ideas. And what if you don't have industry related experience but want to pivot to industries? Okay, pivoting and transitioning requires a conversation, requires some research. And as a career coach, that's where I spend a lot of time with people. And I usually give them homework assignments to go do some informational interviews, go do some research of job descriptions of where you're wanting to pivot to, look at those job requirements, and then let's come back and look at your resume and maybe look at, maybe there's some experiences you need to gain before you can pivot. So that's a big conversation. And I'm even thinking of doing a webinar, Jeff, maybe I could do it one of your Friday sessions about career transitions, because I've been doing a lot of discussions with people lately and kind of show a couple of examples of doing that. So
Yeah, please do get your presentation together. Let me know. I'm booking for July right now.
booking for July. Okay, that's great. Okay, well, that's my action item. All right. So oops, we just have a couple minutes left and I will stop sharing. And thank you to those who shared your resumes. And hopefully the points we offered were valuable.
Well, thank you much, Carol. Thank you very, very much. If anybody would like to connect with Carol, this is her LinkedIn profile. You're welcome to send her a connection request, but please send that personal note. Let her know that you met her here today at this workshop. Just like I don't think Carol selects or connects with people who don't send that personal note. I don't either. So if you're going to connect with me, send me a note. Let me know how we met. All right. For those who are not on Zoom, or if you did not get the sample cover letters or the key cover letter or the bio, you can send me an email at resume@careerdfw.org, resume@careerdfw.org. Send that to me and I will send you an email. Just let me know what you're looking for and I will get that to you this weekend at the latest. So that's what you do if you need to get those documents. CareerUSA and CareerUSA, we're putting on training 5 days a week right now. Tomorrow morning at the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group, we have a labor law attorney who will be presenting about current issues in labor law. It should be a fascinating thing, especially with, do you have to have a COVID, can companies make you have a COVID vaccine? What's it like coming back? I'm sure there'll be some really good topics to talk about. So this event will not be recorded. She does not allow her, she doesn't want the legal conversations to be left out on the internet. So we will be deleting the Facebook post as soon as the video is over with. But so join us tomorrow morning at 9:30. It'll be really great. Women of Wisdom meet the 1st and 3rd, and tomorrow is the 4th Friday, so they won't be meeting tomorrow. Next Monday, no session for Networking Mondays because it is Memorial Day. Next Tuesday, our LinkedIn presentation, how to use LinkedIn for job hunting, strategies that gets results. So I know some of you had some LinkedIn questions. Please join us next Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Next Wednesday at Interviewing Wednesdays, we'll be on session number 5 of 13, analyzing the job description. So you're welcome to please join us for that. Sessions 1 through 4 are already up on the CareerUSA YouTube channel if you want to go back and watch any of those. This session has been recorded. It will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and more importantly on the CareerUSA YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is really easier to use because it looks something like this. Facebook is just a conglomerate of a mess. But if you go to the YouTube channel, you can click on playlist and then find the list you want. If you want resumes or interviewing or LinkedIn or the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group, you can find the topics that you're looking for. And then don't click on the video, but click down below where you see that red arrow, view full playlist, and up will come a list of all the dates in chronological order, along with topics if we have a certain topic that's on there, and you can go back and watch any of those that you'd like. If you're not receiving emails about our workshops and you'd like to join the CareerUSA mailing list, please send an email to CareerUSA, the + subscribe at groups.io. I'll put that email address up here at the very end in case you need to copy it down. All right, it's time to give away an unlimited use of jobscan.co for 1 month. What we want you to do is please open up the chat box, and in the chat box, put a number between 1 and 100. We are playing the Price is Right rules, so it'll be the 2 closest winners without going over. The 2 closest without going over. So we'll give everybody a chance to get their numbers in. 53, 37, 48, 5, 9, 23. By the way, it's not 0, okay? It's not 1 either. So. Numbers, everybody have a number in? All right, let's see here. Our winning number is 92.
Oh,
So,
wow.
92, I guess the 2 winning numbers are Kelly and Nina. So Kelly and Nina with 53 and Nina 48. Sorry, Michelle, too late. Please put your
It's a
email
joke.
address. Please put your email address in the chat box so I can copy it over. And you should get an email probably Tuesday that will have all the information on how you can log in. So please, Nina and Kelly, put your email address in. There's Nina and Kelly. If you'll put yours in, that'd be great. All right, let's see here. So just please remember, CareerUSA, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We have no full or part-time employees. We're just here to help you. Carol's a volunteer here. I'm a volunteer. I've never gotten paid to do any of this over the last 13 years. CareerUSA, we survive on donations. It helps pay for Zoom, the web names, the web hostings, and anything I can't get donated. So please consider making a donation when you land your next job, so that way we can continue to provide the services that we're doing. We are looking for a couple volunteers. If you know anybody who has Joomla experience, if you know anybody who has MySQL experience, or if you know an attorney who has trademark experience, I'd appreciate talking to those people for them to please reach out to me. So thank you
May
for
have
joining us
someone.
today. Please, there's that email address if you'd like to join our mailing list. Everybody, Carol, once again, thank you very much. Everybody have a great afternoon.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll see you in
Thanks,
the morning.
everyone. Bye.